What is up, everybody? This is your guy Kalai, and welcome back to Budget Buys. And today, I just want to take a couple moments to talk about this little $10 80 gigabyte external hard drive that I found at Five Below. Because it's kinda weird. And I don't just mean the fact that Five Below is currently selling 80 gigabyte external hard drives. Things get weird right off the bat with the packaging. First off, this hard drive is using what I've come to call the Five Below tech template because I'm seeing so many more products adopt predominantly gray packaging with a blue rectangle that has some kind of descriptor in it and the exact same font. And while a good number of these products are from one of Five Below's many in-house brands, that's not the case with any of the ones you see here. We've got Bytech, Prime Connect, and Electronic Necessities, none of which list 1616 Holdings anywhere on their packaging. For the uninitiated, 1616 Holdings is Five Below's parent company, and you can find them listed as a distributor on things like the Booga Collection, the Titan Collection, Digital Essentials, and Tracks, just to name a few. Continuing on with the packaging weirdness, their graphical designer seems to have been channeling the American measurement meme when designing this packaging. The popular meme is that Americans will use anything as a unit of measurement in order to avoid the metric system. So we'll measure in things like football fields, washing machines, and of course, the ever-popular banana for scale. And in the spirit of the meme, they decided it would be a good idea to talk about not only the image quality of the videos that you can fit on this drive, but split it up even further by going with 22-hour DVD quality movies or 80 hours of VHS quality video. Why not just say 40 hours of DVD quality video? I don't know. Then they decided to go even further by saying you can fit 55 days of around-the-clock MP3 audio. Though, admittedly, that does fit on the packaging better by keeping it down to 2 digits as opposed to saying 1,320 hours of music. But at the same time, they throw that out the window by saying you can fit 20,000 vivid digital photos on here. Side note, how many people watching this video have never actually watched a movie on VHS? Let me know down in the comments. Also, I can't tell if they're being cheeky with this or they were actually afraid someone would think there's a laptop inside of this tiny box. Knowing people, it really could be either one. Now, onto the hard drive itself. On the box, it says that this is USB 2.0, and they're right, but it doesn't use the connector that I expected. Though I guess there was kind of a hint in the image. Instead of using micro USB, as many USB 2.0 products do these days, it uses mini USB. Let's just bring in one of my lights and get a better shot of that. I can't remember the last time I've seen something come with mini USB. Well, at least not something that I bought as a new product. I've bought a few legacy devices that have this connector, such as some of my microphones like the Blue Yeti, Samson Meteor, and Samson Q2U, but those things are old. This thing has a manufacturing date of 2021. We're still not to the weirdest part, because this enclosure, let's just get it back in focus, is designed to be opened without a screwdriver. It's got a nice little grip right there, but there are clips along the side, so I would suggest bringing a spudger or a flathead screwdriver to get in. But I'm going to take a moment before I do that to build up the suspense, because some of you are probably wondering, inside this enclosure, do they have a hard drive? Or have they basically made an oversized flash drive using an SD card or something? And is it even 80 gigabytes? Well, if I just give that a little tug right there, gotta make sure I get my fingers in the area and remove the cat hair. There we go, just pop that clip. Pop that clip, and we're in. And it is a hard drive. This is a proper 80 gigabyte 5400 RPM SATA hard drive. And this is what is listed on the back of the box. I didn't want to show you so that I wouldn't ruin the surprise. It even says 5400 RPM. And it does make sense that they would use a 5400 RPM in an application like this, because USB 2.0 is not going to be giving you the maximum transfer speeds that you can get through SATA, and 5400 RPM is something you're going to be using with long-term data storage. It's also what's used in many gaming consoles. There was a 5400 RPM hard drive in the PS4 I dumpster dived ages ago, and if I'm not mistaken, there's also one in the PS3 I dumpster dived, and possibly even the Xbox contemporaries of both of those consoles. I don't know for a fact that there's one in the current generation, but I wouldn't be surprised. Now, during that little rant, you were probably sitting there staring at this hard drive with many different labels and a bit of permanent marker and some schmutz on it. And there's a reason for that. If I'm not mistaken, this hard drive was sourced from e-waste. Maybe it's refurbished, but most likely it's not, due to the fact that this label looks to have never been removed, and there is a screw that you have to get to underneath the label in order to take everything apart and check the platters. Of course, these might be inspection marks saying that it is a functional hard drive, but it passed inspection all the way back in 2015, and the hard drive itself was produced in 2008. I don't know if that's actually visible here. Let's see if I can get that in focus. There we go. This hard drive is probably older than a few of the people watching this video. But it gets even better, because I got curious and I bought another one. So if I go ahead and pop this one open and get in there with the spudger, we'll find a Western digital hard drive as opposed to the Samsung hard drive. And that makes me think even more so that these drives are sourced from e-waste. So keep that in mind if you do decide to buy one of these hard drives. Especially since this hard drive was also produced in 2008, and I don't see any inspection marks on it. And with the advanced age of these drives, I wouldn't be that surprised if there are a couple of bad sectors on these disks. Though, admittedly, that's not a guarantee, because I do have a few hard drives from that era that don't have any bad sectors. And on the flip side, I have a couple of hard drives that were produced like 4 years ago maybe, and they bit the dust not long after they were booted up. So it really is a crapshoot, but odds are not in your favor due to the age of these hard drives. And for those of you wondering how much actual space you have on these hard drives, according to Windows, these are 80 gigabyte hard drives that have about 95 megabytes used and 74.4 gigabytes available. And for those of you wondering where the heck those other 5 gigabytes went, if you look to the left, they didn't go anywhere. You never get every single byte listed on the package. Also, when you plug these hard drives in, the drive will have a Chinese name, which I've gone ahead and run through Google Translate for you, and it says new volume. So the Chinese firm that was formatting these hard drives just left the name as whatever it came up as in their software. Also, one more interesting thing, when I plugged these into a Chromebook, not a Windows computer, there was actually a second partition on these drives, but it was unformatted. And it's possible that's where the 95 used megabytes comes in. More than likely, they did the mass formatting in some software that was pre-configured to save a little bit for system recovery information, and that doesn't exist. Now, let's talk about who these hard drives are actually for. Because you could very easily go on Amazon right now and for between $10 and $20 pick up a 128 gigabyte micro SD card. Though admittedly, not all of the cards on offer in that price range are going to be reliable, or even have anywhere near the listed amount of storage on them, but there are a few out there. And as such, they kind of render these pointless. Outside of a few cases, Because if for some reason you need a hard drive for an older console, these are going to get you through. Especially if it's one of those consoles that's going to be very particular about the model of hard drive you put into it, because I've hit that bottleneck on both an original Xbox and a PlayStation 2. I have plenty of physically compatible hard drives, but those consoles will not accept anything outside of a very small subset of those. And if you run into that kind of situation where whatever you're trying to plug a hard drive into will for some reason not accept anything older than, let's say, 2010, or maybe you don't even need a hard drive, and what you really need is a USB external hard drive enclosure that can fit a laptop hard drive. $10 for a USB 2.0 model is actually not half bad. In fact, just the other day I was cursing because I couldn't find mine. This would have been great to have. And finally, there are the people out there who just need a lot of storage very quickly, because sometimes you're down to the wire and you can't wait for shipping. 80 gigabytes for $10 is still 8 gigabytes to the dollar, which is technically a better deal than if you bought one of the $20 128 gigabyte SD cards, especially since you'd need to get a micro SD card reader. So, at the end of the day, these things are frickin' weird, but they're not half bad. So, if you find yourself needing one and your local Five Below has these, you could do worse. At the same time, you could also do a heck of a lot better for the price. So, whether or not these are a good deal is really up to you and your particular use case. And at this point, I've said way more than I expected to about a simple external hard drive, so until next time, this is your guy Cly, signing off.